Welcome back to Tales to Tell podcast. Thank you for that last episode. If you were able to listen, my dad is obviously the reason for the season for me being a veterinarian and teaching me so much about animal behavior. Definitely apologize for some of those comments. Today, I'm going to be talking to my husband, Adam, and also have the producer, Carlos, and the marketing director, Kelsey, in the studio. They might shout out some questions for us today as well. So let's get started. Hi.
Hi.
So gosh, so much to talk about. How can we make this efficient?
Well, back in 1972.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much time do we have?
We have
Enough.
We have enough time, and we can always come back for more. I think thank you for being here.
You're welcome. It's a beautiful space, isn't it?
It is a beautiful space. You know, it's because you did it for me.
You're welcome.
It's a great space. It's awesome. Absolutely. I think we could talk about dog stories, cat stories, how you grew up. You didn't grow up with many pets. You grew up with the cat, Howie. Which I know
We had hermit crabs.
Okay, those don't count.
I had a lot of snakes.
You did. You were very much an outdoor boy,
yes.
And you collected things outside.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. And
four-legged pets, not so much.
We have so many
exotics,
stories.
Yes.
You wanted to be a veterinarian.
Right.
You did not get the support that you deserved.
Right.
In undergrad.
Right.
Actually, probably not in high school either, right?
Well, it depends on what you say support.
To encourage you. No, I don't mean your parents, because they were very supportive. I mean your teachers and your professors. There were a couple of times that you reached out to your professors and they told you pretty much this is not going to happen. You're not going to go to vet school, which kind of shut you down.
Well, that happened in college for sure. I had interest in high school with biology and being outdoors and animals and things like that.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of like a hobby.
Yeah.
I do remember a couple of my teachers taking me by the hand and saying, hey, why don't you try this or try that? And maybe I dabbled a little bit, but nothing was necessarily, I would have been great if I had a mentor that said, do this, this, and this, because I would have done it.
It's so hard. I think there's a lot more of that now, but we definitely didn't grow up with that type of framework for any of our careers unless you found a mentor. But you would be an awesome veterinarian. We've talked about this. Large animal, you being outside, are you kidding? I mean, you're very resourceful. You help people come up with an action plan. You can think outside the box. You're calm. You don't react like I react to things. You're very calm and you're very reassuring, and you're great with communication. You help calm people down when they're upset. And you would be awesome. I tell you that about so many. I think you'd be a great plastic surgeon. You'd be a great large animal vet.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but I don't know that I enjoy. I like large animals, but I don't know if I would enjoy working on them.
Well, that would be kind of an important part. But you do love small animals.
Yeah, and like you said, I enjoyed being outside. I liked animals. I liked pets, and that led me to go to college and get a degree in biology, which I don't necessarily use.
Well,
then I graduated, and my GPA wasn't very good, so that's when everything came to a screeching halt as far as vet school goes.
Right. I think one theme for you and I both, and probably we would hope this for our kids too, is we've both been told no plenty of times.
True. Yeah.
And it may look, you look now, right? This great practice. We have 5 exam rooms, 16, 17 employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was not always this way.
No.
It was not always this way. And we can talk about that, I hope, a little bit more. But the struggle and the adversity and the setbacks, and we're not talking a day here and there. There were years I have memories of going to people's houses, no names, but I'm sure you can remember, out of state, visiting some friends of yours.
Yeah.
And you and I were struggling together as a marriage.
Right.
Our kids were not well behaved.
Right.
We're sitting in this fabulous house with their multiple well-behaved children. I think AJ chucked like a lacrosse ball or something and almost hit the mom in the head. And I remember the mom asked me, what do you do? What do you do for your time off? Mm-hmm. And I said, I work. And it hit me like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We were working so hard on trying to create this. We didn't even know what it looked like. We didn't even know what the path looked like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember the specific year it was, but I'm sure it was around the time the recession hit and things were really hard back then. But I mean, if you go back and look at even at the beginning, like you didn't get into Auburn to start with. And then I got into Furman and I did my thing. And then my GPA wasn't good enough to be a vet. So then I decided to do something else. You know, we did have those little setbacks to get us started.
Yep.
And then we graduated and then, you know, I'm doing construction, you're doing vet stuff. We got kids and then the recession hit.
Yeah. That was a really tough.
That was a really hard time. Timing. We had two little ones. Our two little ones were in private school. We couldn't afford to pay it.
Right. Couldn't afford to pay.
We barely had enough to pay our mortgage.
Yep. And we reached out, I remember, to the principal and said, we're struggling. And she was awesome.
Yeah.
And said, no worries. And helped us out.
Right.
And
we created Four Paws house calls. And we had a Stanley wheelie toolbox
in the back of the minivan.
And it was our, I can remember going to the first house call and we wheeled that thing out. And
do you remember who the first house call was?
I feel like it was the Horaces.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So, which wasn't too far from our house. We did our thing. And then, you know, I did it with you for a good 6 years, you and I.
I know. We started in 2008.
Yeah, we did great.
We did so great.
We did really well
to open the clinic.
You can only see so many pets in one day because you're only two people and you can only drive so far. So we would max out every day and do our thing.
You would make lunch in the morning or I'd make lunch and we'd have lunch on the road. I'd drive and you'd type, or you'd drive and I'd type all the notes from the previous house call. We might, like a treat was we'd stop at Starbucks and get a coffee if we had extra time. But the goal was we got to drop the kids at school.
Right. That's what I was about to say.
To pick the kids up.
The best part about it was our schedule started after we dropped them off. We'd go to Starbucks, get a coffee, and then we'd start our day. And then we'd finish our appointments around the same time that school let out. So we'd go pick up the kids afterward and we were done.
Yes. Hopefully.
So that's when times were a little simpler.
Yeah.
Things were a little bit more financially challenging.
Yes. And I think it's hard to measure what we were doing for our kids at that time.
Right.
Like it was hard to put a measurement on how great they were gonna turn out.
Right.
Or how much we were investing in them.
Yeah.
Instead of investing in our careers. And it may seem that we have done well, but we're in our 50s and I think we both finally feel like we're doing okay.
Well, you know, in a typical situation, like, you know, the recession happens and I would say literally this shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
You know, we had to do house calls, but we thought outside the box.
Yeah.
We didn't think about like, okay, I'm going to go find some corporate job because I need to stay on my corporate career path and I'm going to be making 7 figures by the time I'm 40.
Oh, yeah. No.
You know, it was all about our family first.
Yeah.
what can we do to get by to take care of our family?
Right. Health insurance and keeping them in Catholic school. Those were our two goals.
And keeping the roof over our heads.
Yeah.
And that was it. And we kind of thought out of the box and we're like, hey, let's try this out.
Yeah. It was, I've said this before, and I know you and I obviously have different personalities. I think many couples would have called it quits.
Yeah, it was definitely not easy. I mean, I remember driving over the train tracks and the back of your van flew open and everything blew out right there off of Park Avenue.
Right by where the farmer's market used to be. All of the drugs, all the vaccines.
Q-tips, I mean, syringes. Cotton balls all over the place, syringes.
And people stopped and helped us. They were like, what type of business do you run?
Yeah, it was a disaster.
Yep.
So.
Yes.
But I mean, we did that for 6 years and then construction started picking back up and then you did it for yourself a couple of years and then you're like, I can't do this anymore. And here we are. But then, we opened up this place and I can remember I came in.
You would answer the phone or you'd be at the front desk.
I was working at the front desk and there were days where we literally had nobody show up here.
Right. We had 2 exam rooms.
2 exam rooms.
You built the space out and there were 2 exam rooms.
We had 1 technician. You were the doctor. I was the receptionist.
Yeah.
And the first year was really, really pretty slow.
I would say from 2008 until 2020. When stinking COVID hit.
Yeah.
I mean, we always had some level of stress that I didn't recall my parents having, which probably isn't fair because I don't think that our kids were aware so much of the stress that you and I experienced.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair for kids to be aware of that. So maybe my parents did experience it, but it felt like there was always this heaviness happening. And then we had COVID. And then that was weird, right? Because then we had a kid at home that we didn't expect, AJ, would be at home.
Right.
And you were working and I'm here. And that was so weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think either of our businesses really suffered too much.
Oh, well, I know.
It was just different.
I didn't take a day off.
Yeah.
But I was still growing my business. I was only open for not even 2 years and COVID hit.
Yeah.
And I had to have people stay in the parking lot.
Right.
And go into
a lot of people were at home, so they noticed stuff with their pets. So you were getting more.
I was getting more business
because of that, and then people were also at home and they were lonely. So hey, let me go get a pet. So you were getting a lot more new clients.
Yes.
And people were staying in their cars, dropping their pets off. So the exams went a lot quicker. So you could do a lot more work.
Yes.
The same amount of time.
It did help grow. What was tough is I like to make that bond with clients. And talk to them and see them.
Right.
And I can remember being in the parking lot and it'd be hot as heck and talking to a client that way.
Yeah.
Or on the phone, but it's hard to get that real true feeling and then to see what.
Yeah, the personalized service wasn't necessarily there as much.
And then the great space that you built. And then, so we get so busy. So we only have 2 exam rooms, right? And then you added on another 2,000 square feet, maybe 3 exam rooms, another treatment, a break room.
Yeah, about 1,300 square feet.
Okay.
So we're at about 2,600 to 2,700 square feet. But then we just added another little office space. We're about 3,000 square feet now.
Yeah, with 5 exam rooms and surgery. So you think of that, right? You and I, what even happened that we decided to do house calls? I mean, I don't remember the exact conversation, but I remember you saying,
I don't know.
You're slow in construction. What's going to happen? We had no idea. And then I said, well, instead of doing relief and filling in all this practices, why don't we start something? So we did that. And then that morphed into the clinic, which then grew and grew and grew. And now here we are. This is the 7th year we've been here.
Yeah.
And every day's booked.
Yeah.
Surgery schedule booked. We'll always take new clients, always take new pets, but it's amazing because my competition is clinics that have been around for 40 years and 60 years. Yeah. And we've only been 7 years and we didn't know what that looked like. Right. We just took that leap, had no idea what it was going to look like.
Right.
And we're paying the bills. We're supporting our kids. We're supporting ourselves. It's really, pretty amazing that somebody can even do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've come a long way.
We have.
It definitely hasn't been easy, but
None of it would have been worth it if you and I had bailed on each other.
Of course.
Who's the one that's more likely to bail?
Probably you.
Okay. So then you said it. So to that point of, that's just my personality of when things get difficult, I'm looking for a plane ticket and I'm out. Right?
Right.
And you don't go there for some reason. I don't know. Why don't you go there? Thank God you don't go there. But you're in it. You're vested. Mm-hmm. It's like you said, okay, I'm getting married. This is it.
Right.
Because you tell me. What do you tell me?
I'm getting married once. And that's it. One life, one marriage.
Okay. It's been recorded.
Where does that tendency to stay come from?
Oh, gosh. That's a tough question.
Oh, I'm sure you have an answer. That's a great question.
It's actually a very easy answer. It's because I love you.
But I love you too.
And it's not an emotional I love you. It's a decision, a choice I've made.
That's a very good point. Yes. You're much less emotional than me, which is fine. We're a balance.
Possibly. Yeah.
We're a balance. We know that, right?
Yeah.
You're stable, consistent. It's not that I'm not stable. You're consistent.
I try to be.
You are. Thank God.
When I get good sleep.
Yes. And then I am more impulsive, more intense. And and because of that,
we balance each other out.
We balance each other out.
Yeah.
Look at the places we've gone because I have a crazy idea and say, right?
Yeah. We've had a few crazy ones, that's for sure.
I say, let's go here. And you're like, okay, I don't really know. But we do. But then yet, who's balancing the checkbook?
Right.
You.
Mm-hmm.
Who's making the meals, making sure the kids are fed? You.
Right. Yeah.
Who? Although you're the one that books concerts and stuff, not me.
It's definitely a team effort, and I think we have definitely two different personalities.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. I would say one big thing too that you say you made the choice. You make the choice to love someone, which is so true, right? It's a feeling in the very beginning.
Of course, yeah.
Like when you pick me up in the bar, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Is that how it happened?
Sure.
Okay.
Do you guys ever struggle as a marriage with that imposter syndrome?
So with imposter syndrome, I would say in the marriage, I do occasionally as a veterinarian, I would say. So to the definition of, it's hard to explain it. There can be times that there'll be challenges veterinary wise. And when you get questioned enough, or you feel unsure enough, or you have things happen, like maybe I have something happening now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That when you get questioned, then you're like, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. And I do not have that with you. Not at all.
Right.
I do not have that with you. But we're gosh, this is how many years in? We got married in 97.
Mm-hmm. Almost 20 years.
So it's to be 28 years this year.
Yeah.
So we have learned a lot. We have talked a lot. We have gone to counseling in the past. We talked to our kids about too much maybe, but everything. Yeah. We're aware of what's going on with our kids' lives whether it's good or not.
Right.
And we've gone through things.
It's all about communication, really.
Things with them that have been very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But you're always a huge support to me.
I try to be.
You are. Even if you disagree with maybe a way I've handled something, you're still a huge support. I've always struggled with vulnerability in general. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
but have learned and still learning to be vulnerable with you. And I don't feel we're so authentic. I don't know. We're just who we are. There's there's nothing else to us. This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
Yeah,
so
face value.
If I have a hard time and I say, I'm really struggling with something, or I write something up, like you got up early this morning, right? I had to write a response to something that's been on my mind. And you read it and you rewrite it and you take out the intensity and the ADHD moment that I have and you rewrite it for me.
Yeah.
And that's just what we do. Right? What do I, and then what do I do for you? Because it really feels like, what do I do for you?
Well, you've given me a lot of encouragement, especially in the beginning when I didn't think I would be able to do something. I've been able to do it.
Yeah,
You've pushed me to go out and do things that have made me successful.
Yeah.
You helped me to bring a balance into our life and make us realize that, it's our family that's the most important thing.
For sure. I probably,
I think we really have that work-life balance figured out. And I think I highly recommend it for any relationship.
Yep.
I don't think we're ever going to necessarily retire. You just shift your priorities a little bit more so.
Yeah.
Because you got to have some kind of a balance.
Sure.
I think that's good for relationships, good for careers.
Right. You mentioned
good
that.
For your health, really.
And I think of, some of these really impressive vet clinics, and honestly, none that are in town here, but clinics we've talked about out in California, up in New York City, right? And just super impressive individuals that are growing those, that have MBAs from neat places. And you know what? I want none of that.
Yeah.
I am so happy for them. It is so cool what you can do with this degree. And I want none of that. I do not feel pushed to accomplish that. I might like to open a few more practices because I love the staff. I love the relationships. I like building that, but kind of, when's enough? Like,
well, I think it's important to not necessarily keep your eye on the prize at the end. Don't keep your eye on the goal all the time. I think you need to continually do what you like to do every day. And then the outcome is whatever the outcome is.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like Coach Saban, one of my favorite coaches now.
The only
since he's been retired
out of Alabama, just because we're Auburn people,
would be he always said, you're not practicing for the national championship. You're practicing for the next play and then the next play and then the next play. And whatever comes to be is what happens as a result of you continually working hard and doing what you do best.
Yeah.
So if you get up every day and you enjoy what you're doing and you work at it, the outcome might be 10 practices over New York City, or it might just be one nice big practice in one city.
Right.
But as long as you're doing the same thing every day and getting better and enjoying it, what's the difference?
Yep. I hear that, and I am starting to understand that.
And as you're doing those things day to day, certain opportunities you'll come in contact with somebody, you'll see somebody, things will happen.
Right.
Which will open up another door to be able to do something else.
Right. That's a great point. And as you say that too, I reflect on it, and we would say this to the kids. It's not all about me and my journey.
Right.
In that journey, I have multiple team employees. Mm-hmm. I might be impacting their life in a way. Like there's something they needed to learn from that. There's a client that came in, or a pet. Mm-hmm. There's something they got from it. Not just all about me and what my end result is going to be.
Right.
And the times we've gone to visit our kids in college, the friends that they've had, the interactions we've had with them.
Sure.
The impact that you make, either by whether donating your time or just talking with someone that you, just a stranger,
right,
just living,
right, definitely
is
and you can make such an impact just by listening and not necessarily talking.
I know, I have to learn that. You know, that's my
God gave us 2 ears and not 2 mouths. You got to listen more.
I know. Something I definitely have to work on. Absolutely. Definitely have to work on.
So you have 2 kids, you have businesses, properties, success. What do you guys want to leave as a legacy, as, you know, a couple or individually?
I think our biggest legacy is just going to be our kids and how they turn out. Definitely, hands down. I mean, that's it.
It is. Yep. It's so nice. And you think back to when the kids were little and you have no frame of reference. You're only in that day, right? You're in that day and how difficult it is with the energy of the kids, and you were exhausted, and we have money worries, and our parents are getting older, all the things that everybody has, that everybody goes through. And you have no idea of what it looks like when they're 20 and 23.
Right.
And then when we sit here now, I mean, that definitely could make me get upset. And you think about how great they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, and it goes by so quick.
It goes by so fast. And you mentioned this in the beginning. When I applied to Auburn as a senior in high school, I did not get in. It was the only school I wanted to go to. I got into Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Mississippi. I did not get into Auburn. I got into Alabama. That's where I wanted to go. And I have the denial letter. You just found it last week.
Yeah.
Ended up writing to Auburn. This is when you would handwrite or typed up a letter. And I said, is there a way I could come for summer school? So anyhow, it worked out. I got in for summer school. I had to maintain a certain GPA. That worked out. Ended up getting into vet school.
Yeah.
Now, both of our kids are going to be at Auburn.
I know.
You didn't even get in for graduate school.
Yeah, it's
at
quite
Auburn.
The story.
You had tell that story, how you didn't get in. You wanted to come to Auburn.
I mean, you were at Auburn. We were dating. I graduated, had a 2 whatever.
From Furman
with a biology degree. And I'm like, all right, what in the world am I going to do now?
Yep.
I mean, I could have maybe gotten a sales job or done something that I probably wouldn't have enjoyed.
You would have hated it.
But since you were at Auburn, I figured, hey, why don't I move there and we'll see where this thing goes. Yeah. And decided to, I basically pulled out the catalog from Auburn because nothing was online back then.
There was no online.
And I found some degrees that I thought might be interesting. One was agriculture and the other one was construction. And I did some construction over when I graduated from high school.
Yeah.
I did some construction before I went to college, and that job kind of stuck in the back of my head. So I figured, why don't I try that out, and applied to the graduate school at construction. They were just starting at MBC, Masters of Building Construction at Auburn, and I didn't get in. But then I met with the head of the department, Dr. Adderholt. God rest his soul. He was a great guy. He said, why don't you come into my office and we can discuss. I think this was actually after I met with the president of Auburn, who I happened to meet because of he knew
a mutual friend or a mutual connection.
Right. It was the forget his name, Lenwood Cochran. He was I forget what his title was, but he was a fraternity brother, but many years separated from each other. Anyway, he knew the president of Auburn. I got in. I was in the president's office. We sat down. We chatted for a little bit. And then, lo and behold, I got a call from the head of the construction department. And he said, if you get a 3.0 in these 4 classes, we'll let you in the program. Well, I got a 4.0.
Of course you did.
And I loved it.
That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't get in when I first applied.
And that goes back to, we were told no many times, but it developed resilience.
It's amazing. You and I were both told no by Auburn and we stuck with it, and we got in, and now our kids are there, and we love going there.
Yep. AJ's sophomore with accounting, doing great. Loves it. Will probably stay for his master's, it sounds like. And then Bella just got in for her master's in fishery biology.
Yeah.
Which is super cool program that she's going to be outside. AJ is probably going to be inside with their jobs.
It's a great place.
They're both going to be there for, it looks like 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
Absolutely amazing. Like of all the things, talking about a legacy,
Mm-hmm.
my legacy, you say kids, 100%. And
Right.
and you know what I would say? Kids that like each other. That
True.
would be my hope.
Yeah.
That out of anything in the world that you and I could have, it would be the two kids that get along.
Yeah.
They'd like each other, you know?
Yeah. I think the most important thing to encourage that is to give them too much love and not enough money.
I know. Well, that goes back to you and I have that conversation. We have a bigger spender and a lesser spender.
Yeah.
No names. They know who they are. It's not what people might think.
They're figuring it out.
Yeah. And that's the great thing. I mean, we go up and we can see them, but we may not see them. And we do our own thing because we love the town.
Mm-hmm.
And we love the people and how not non-competitive it is.
Yeah.
How calm it is.
Mm-hmm.
How we're not working when we're there.
Right. It's a great place.
It's patient.
Yeah.
And it's just a great place for the kids to be. But I would say
they'll be sick of it after 3 years. They will be,
like you and I were. I was there for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I graduated. We had that party at graduation.
I was definitely ready to get out.
We got the heck out. You and I got married a few months later and we moved to Colorado.
Yeah.
We just were done with all of that. But my legacy would be kids that are family oriented, that like spending time with each other and with their families.
Right.
And I think we've busted our ass, whether we've done a great job or not.
Right.
I know we've busted our ass.
Yep.
We've worked very hard
Mm-hmm.
for them and with them. And you know what? They know that. We just talked about that 2 days ago of how down to earth they are. They don't ask for much. We do have one that spends a little more maybe going out than the other, but
yeah, they're both great kids.
They're both great kids.
Yeah.
And they're both
We're lucky. Mm-hmm.
They're both pretty easy. So
yeah.
We didn't talk much about animals. Are you
We
going to
can save that for the next episode.
Are you going to let me get more animals as we get older? We
we'll see about it. We'll see about that.
Okay, so tell me this. What is your one animal I know you would love to have in your life? What animal would you love to have?
Animal or dog or what? What dog? I've always liked bull mastiffs. But I don't know if I can handle the size and the cleanup.
Yeah, you are a clean person.
And how much food.
And stool.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility. Maybe I can borrow somebody's.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we could find one you could dog sit and see what you think. They are awesome.
Yeah, they're such sweet dogs.
I mean, all dogs and cats, really. They are really, really special. That's something that really has made a big difference in our home.
Oh,
in
absolutely.
Raising our kids.
Right. And that's something that you've taught me about. I never had a dog until I met you.
Yep. Travel, dogs, fun.
Right.
Yep.
For sure. What else is there?
Work.
Well, that's not fun.
I would say my thing would be having another 1 or 2 golden retrievers if possible. If we had land and the golden retrievers could run, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
You'd have to have a groomer come like once a month or something.
We've been blessed with a great dog sitter, but it makes it challenging whenever we want to just pick up and go somewhere.
I know. But we are, they're part of our family and we take them as much as we can, but there's sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So, that's been a huge boost to us and to our family. To one of the things I think the kids miss the most about being home.
Right.
I don't know if it's you and I don't think it is.
Yeah, I know they really enjoy the dogs.
They enjoy the dogs. And then Cheeto.
Well, yeah.
I know.
God rest his soul.
Yep. So thank you so much for talking with me.
You're welcome.
Today.
Glad I could be here.
Next time we'll talk more about animals.
Sounds good.
But thank you.
We have plenty of animal stories.
Thank you for being the resident contractor.
Maintenance man,
IT guy.
not as much, but sure.
Counselor, partner. You've kept me alive.
That's what I'm here for.
You kept me alive. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll see you tonight.
I love you. Thank you for letting me be vulnerable. Thank you guys for listening, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time. Thank you.